Point Blank Period Podcast is where we come to have real blank conversation with real people. Get into it. What up, family? This is your girl, Keita, and I'm coming through with today's episode, Monogamy or Whatever. Today, our special co-host is Kosi. He is a father, a husband, a businessman, and all of that. So he's coming to bring out his perspective on, is monogamy really attainable?
Going on? This Kosi. Here with Keita tonight. We're gonna talk about monogamy or whatever. So I'm gonna give you my perspective on it, give you my ideas of what I think is monogamy and relationships, I guess. So you in for a treat. Stay tuned.
I want to talk about monogamy. Monogamy is one of the hot topics in social settings that a lot of people have. So it can be in the form of dating, cheating, situationships, and our new term, entanglement, thanks to Jada Smith. Ooh. Society have made people believe that humans' greatest accomplishment is finding a true love, your soulmate, getting married, having kids. But a lot of people are in a search of a quote-unquote soulmate or the one. But statistically, monogamy, it seems very hard and very difficult to obtain, considering that the divorce rate in the United States is about 40%, quoted from 2018 from the CDC. And of course, we have a lot of public figures who've been in marriages and fell short of their vows by stepping out. Some examples, I'm going to be name dropping Kevin Hart, our great Martin Luther King. He was known for being a Rolling Stone. That was on the streets, allegedly. Also, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. But remember that time, Bill Clinton, when we thought he was the first black president.
My man Kobe like that.
I know, my bad. To name some, Jada Smith with the wonderful word entanglement. So if all...
They say they won together. They won together, though.
So if they all fall victim to the sweet nectar and violated their vows, then really, is monogamy really attainable? All right, Brother Kosi. So with all that being said, do you really feel like monogamy is attainable, considering you are a married man?
Absolutely. All right, monogamy is attainable. Monogamy is absolutely attainable. It's not some fairy tale or some far-fetched idea that, some people might believe it is just because you had a couple of bad relationships, but monogamy is absolutely attainable. I've seen it. I'm a part of it, and so I definitely believe that monogamy is an obtainable goal, attainable objective.
Okay, ladies, you hear that? That is a man perspective. He says attainable. So let's break down this pretty picture that Kosi trying to paint here. So, before you were married, did you feel like monogamy was what you wanted?
No.
Okay, let's elaborate on that, my brother.
But that's, and like I say, everybody's situation is different. Like, like people grow up in different households to where, if you grow up in a household where your mom and your dad is together forever, then you grow up thinking like, hey, that might be something that I want. But you grow up in a broken household, or you grow up in a household where your father is not around, or your mother is in and out, then you kind of look at relationships differently now. And so, like I say, it all like everything depends on your experience. Like my mother and father lived in the same house for a number of years in my adolescence. Then they finally got divorced when I was maybe like 8th grade or something like that. And so,
did they remarry? Any one of them remarried?
No, neither one. Okay. Neither one remarried. But like for a number of years, they slept in separate bedrooms in the same house. So it's like, it was like, they were together, but they weren't together. Mm-hmm. They was like trying to figure out if they were gonna stay together or not. How me and my siblings looked at it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And honestly, like when they finally got a divorce, like my mom thought, we was gonna be devastated. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, what happened? We was like, about time. Like y'all niggas ain't spoke these like slept in the same room like 3 years now. What the hell y'all waiting on?
So what is that like? That is a good point to make. That a lot of time people stay with each other just for the kids, just to get the kids to a point of maybe graduating from high school, not breaking up the kids. But I feel like being with somebody and it's toxic makes the kids just as toxic.
Just as toxic. And I'm saying, and I think because of that generation,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, our parents' generation and that generation before that, they didn't believe in getting divorced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't believe in having that scratch on their record or whatever. You know what I mean? And so, like, my grandparents, like, on both sides, neither one of them are divorced from the other one, but on both sides of my mom and my dad family, both of them lived in separate houses. You know what I mean? They lived in separate houses. They lived whole other separate lives, but my grandmothers kept both my grandfather's last name. You know what I mean? And that's how they did. I feel like that, you know, people nowadays, they don't feel so constricted about, you know, old school rules. You know, they be like, fuck it. You know what I mean? If I ain't happy, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And they'll go find somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's real. Like, you ain't gotta stay somewhere where you ain't happy at all.
So do you? Because I kind of have a little core about this, about happiness. I feel like happiness is attached to things. You happy because you got accomplishment. You happy for the peaks of your life. But how do you sustain that happiness when you may be you're low in a relationship, because you're bringing two separate people to join together as one, financially, living together, morals, ethics, trauma, everything together. You mentioned that together. So how do you feel like the baby boomer generation because I felt like they got married to depend on financially. I think that was kind of key, number one, because women weren't working as much as women are today. So
y'all literally getting married off.
How getting married off?
Like baby boom generation, like women was literally getting married off until a man that had like a successful thing on. That's true. Moms being at the country club, like, well, you know, my daughter's single. Right. Well, you know, Johnny's a doctor now. Like, so they was like literally, you know, pairing people off. Yeah. Like, it don't matter if you was happy or not. Like, nah, bitch, you finna go get this nigga get some babies.
Because when I think about, you know, I hate to separate by race, but other races, such as our Caucasian race, they still do marriage like that. They set their kids up to go to the Ivy League schools, not to necessarily obtain a degree, to have a job, but if you're the daughter, I'm sending you there so you can find a young man whose family got some money.
Potentially,
so we can put this thing together, and so we can keep this money in the family.
I'm saying, like, you still like it's cultures that still do that. Like, you know, Indian culture still have arranged marriage. You know,
they sure do.
Like Jewish cultures, like they do that. Like they in the community, because a lot of people go to, like, you know, their culture says like they synagogues and stuff like that, and they'll say, hey, you know what I mean? Oh, didn't your son just graduate with a law degree?
Oh, and my daughter,
you know, my daughter's just, you know, she working at Macy's, whatever she doing. But like, they make it happen though. Like they and you know what I mean. And like, what's the show? Rami on Hulu. Like, they literally give you an inside of
Indian culture.
Yeah, like, well, really Muslim culture.
Oh, okay.
To where like he's literally getting interviewed by women to possibly marry.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, this is still happening.
It is. But,
you know,
what we say about the black culture? What we doing?
We not. But I'm saying, like, we don't do that.
Yeah, because
but I think that, you know, we didn't, like, we, in most black culture, we never set up community like that. To where, you know, we would meet at a community center and, you know, oh, her mom and my mom grew up, so boom, you know, she got a daughter, my mom got a son, and hey, y'all know what? Y'all would be perfect together.
Well, I want to rebuttal that a little bit, because back when we were segregated, we depended on our community a lot more.
We did, and I feel like it might not have been said, but it probably was some stuff like that happening in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, because especially the high class black people who
Right.
actually were highly degreed. Oh, they want
Right.
to keep that in the family.
Right.
They
Back in
push
the day, shit. Oh, your baby came out a little light.
Okay.
Let me get him over here, my little dog, baby. Give me some brown skin
Because you know
grandbaby.
colorism still exists
Right.
in the
So
black community.
you hook him up with Pretty Ricky with the green eyes from across the street. You know what I mean? And little black Tanisha, your baby gonna come out a little, you know what I mean? A little lighter skin, a little more fair skin. They got a better shot out there in the world now. I guess so. But like now, I don't like now. Like while other cultures kind of still kept it going, like I don't see it happening. Like you might have friends that stayed together,
Yeah.
like friends that grew up together,
Yeah.
and their kids about the same age, and they both kind of single, and they'll be like, won't you get Derek?
And somebody, but let me say, this is my stance, and I stay by it. I truly feel like past the baby boomer world, when it was, when the war on drugs took a lot of our African American male out of the community and locked them up. They took away our even though it's warehouses and our jobs in inner city. They took that away from us, so that left the black man without jobs, making them quote unquote unqualified. But however, I feel like then that's when they push the daughters to stand on your own, become something, do something, seek after a career, seek after the highest possible vibration ever, so that you don't depend on a man for anything, which is fine and cool. However, I feel like there's not a balance, because our daughters were raised not to be wives. They were raised to be independent women. Our boys weren't really taught to be husbands, because you get kudos for being a player. You get kudos for having this amount of girls, this amount of girls. Your uncle, your brothers high five you, your cousins. Oh, you smashed old shorty? Oh, that's what's up. So I feel like our children weren't raised to really become married or to sustain being in a marriage. So we had to figure this thing out along the way. And then we didn't see it really that much with that Generation X child. Like my mom and them generation. I don't know what they did, but just soak up all the benefits and ain't taught us nothing. Excuse me, Generation X. I ain't bashing y'all.
But I'm saying, but like, so it could be when you look at it like that, like it could be a good and a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean, you taught your women to think for themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? You taught your women to think for themselves, but you also taught them to be, you also got so independent that they don't, they don't rely on community anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it's not like when you grew up to where in a neighborhood to where like your neighbor becomes pretty much your aunt or a second mom to you, or like, you know what I mean, or oh, Miss Stacy gonna watch you tonight,
right?
You know what I mean, I gotta work, and it's cool. Like people don't do stuff like that no more. Like they'll drive their child across town to, you know what I mean, to their friend or they whoever, instead of getting to know your neighbors next door. And now, like I say, like I think our biggest thing is that there's no sense of community. Like there's no sense of community within us, and so you don't have those lifelong friendships, in other communities, or you don't have them lifelong connections in that community to where, hey, you know what I mean, they might have 4 sons, and you might have a daughter that you want to marry off, but who you gonna marry out to? Because you don't talk to nobody.
That's true.
And
all
so
the boys out there running the street.
But I'm saying, but then in other communities, and all you doing is raising your daughter to be married. Then like shit, what else can she do?
That's true. So it's a healthy balance.
It is,
but I feel like you have to balance that out more as an adult, because you can't sit and say, well, I didn't grow up that way, or I didn't see this X, Y, and Z. If that's your goal, then you have to learn how to balance within yourself as an adult.
Yeah, you do got to find balance. But to circle back to something you said earlier, like what do you do when like the down spots in your relationship? And so for that, like I look at it like this, and you gotta look at relationships like little little relationships, like little small relationships. Each one, like your relationship can be looked at as one long, one long relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people think about like, oh man, dang, I'm tired of been married to her for 10 years. But if you look at it like, each year is a new relationship. It's a new marriage. Every time you had an anniversary, you getting married again. Like every year is a newlywed stage. You know what I mean? You take it as little relationships each time, so that way, everything ain't gonna be good. Like you know what I mean? Every time you had a new relationship in your life, like everyone wasn't great. Like each one wasn't good. That's the reason you're not with that person now. But you gotta take it in small bites. You know what I mean? Don't look at it as a long, marathon run. Look at it as quick sprints. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get through this year together, we're gonna work on it, boom, I really don't want to run this sprint this time, but I know I gotta do it to be better. And so you gotta kinda look at relationships like that. Like that, I think that helps. I think that will help, some people because they thinking about it, so as such a massive thing instead of breaking it down into little pieces. Like boom, all right, right now we got an issue. Let's work on this issue. Then we're gonna be, let's dead that. Let's move on to a new relationship now. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. I like that. That's good sound advice. Take your relationship by years, by doses. So let's talk about the ultimate topic of relationship monogamy and why people can't stay in monogamous relationships, and that is cheating.
That's the only reason people can't stay in monogamous relationships.
No, of course not. That's not the only thing. Jeez Louise. But that is the main reason. And cheating, I feel like, especially for women, it defiles the relationship. When a man goes out and share his emotions, physical, however, it really does something to the woman. So how do a man stay from not cheating? Especially when we got social media, when we got all the little thought pockets around him, showing everything on social media. And we got, in the world of city girls and, Megan Thee Stallion, hot girl, summer.
That's y'all. That's y'all sex. That's y'all sex appeal. Like, you know what I mean? That is the women that's putting this stuff out there.
Okay, so how does a man stay? Okay, let me stop talking in general. Kosi, how do you, as a man, a married man, stay focused? In your marriage, and let's say before marriage, did you stay focused? Did you fall victim? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about marriage.
Okay.
You got to stay private. Like, you name dropped earlier a lot of infamous cheaters that were caught over time. But like, you know what I mean? And that's because these were people that were out, in the public eye. They were, so people wanted to, find out bad information about them to disperse their names. Right. You know what I mean? But you got people that's been married forever in the in the industry. Courtney B. Vance and Angela Bassett. Like, you never hear nothing about them.
Good old Barack Obama and Michelle.
Exactly. And and LeBron James and his girl and his wife. Like, these people that you ain't heard nothing about.
You ain't heard nothing.
Hey, look, if it ain't on TMZ or what else like that.
I said the shade room solidifies everything.
I know what I'm saying. So it's like, you know what I mean? But these people that had solid relationships, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Denzel and his wife. Samuel Jackson and his wife. Like, folks that been together for 30 plus years and stuff like in the game. And, Denzel.
You don't think they dealt with cheating at all? It just might not have gotten out.
It might not have gotten out. What they did with behind their closed doors is their business. You know what I mean? So, like, we can't say what happens with them, but as a culture, we can look at their relationship and say, hey, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't known until about 5 years ago that Courtney and Angela Bassett was even married. I was like, damn.
Where you been?
I ain't never know. I never really seen them on a red carpet together.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You don't really see like pictures of them out together, but they've been married for like 25 years.
Do you think you can be in a 25-year relationship and there is no infidelity at all.
I'm saying like if you saying like boom, infidelity like what like.
However, because people define
Cheating,
cheating as
flirting, because people define
cheating differently.
yeah, exactly. So you're saying like that's so you gotta kind of like I can't sit there and I'm cheating because I'm a friendly person. You know what I mean? I can spark up a conversation with a person and just carry a conversation. So in somebody else's eye, I might be like, oh dang, you flirting with that girl.
Right.
But really, I'm just sitting there having a conversation and laughing.
Well, that's true because I feel like now, just to piggyback off of that, I do feel like when we do connect to either a relationship or marriage, whatever you obtain for, I feel like we supposed to feel like we have that person. That person's my everything. That person my best friend. I tell them everything. That person is supposed to come to me about every aspect of their lives.
That's bullshit.
I think so too, because I feel like you have to have other outlets in order to be who you really are. And I feel like sometimes we put pressure on each other to walk this perfect line, to walk these unspoken expectations, these high-ass expectations, and people fall short of that. And really what it boils down to is a lack of communication.
I was saying communication is always key.
Right,
like in anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like you always gotta communicate with your partner. Right. Whether it's your
brutal honest.
Yeah, whether it's your significant other or your best friend. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta communicate. You gotta talk to them. Like they said, if any one of them said something foul to you, made you feel some type of way, like made you really have to question that shit, then yeah, you need to have a talk. But like I hate that standard of, love and relationship to where people feel like, oh, you gotta tell me everything. Like, no, I ain't gotta tell you everything. Like, you got your own life. Like we should be able to be independent but together at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you was somebody before I met you. Right. I was somebody before you met me. Right. Now we brought us together because we brought out the better parts of each other. Yeah. But I'm still an individual at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like when I walk out in the street, they don't see me as they don't see me as my wife's husband. They see me as me. Right. You know what I mean? Now it's me upon myself that represents my wife. Yeah. Eternally say, hey, nah, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I represent her when I'm out here. That's true. But but I'm still me at the end of the day. Because if I get locked up, they not locking both of us up. They locking my ass up.
I don't know him, Judge. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. So much shit. But I'm saying, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like that's the best way. I think like that's the best way for people to, have a relationship is that like, if you can't have a life outside of the relationship, then I think that's where a lot of relationships fail because, I can't, it drives me nuts when, I see shows and they be like, I can't live without you. Bitch, you was living before you met me. How the fuck you can't live without me? Like, get the fuck on with that bullshit.
So you believe in soulmates or the one? Do you believe that, because sometimes society makes, I think they really push that towards the female girls narrative, that there is this one person for you that's going to complete you. This is your soulmate, your soul connects. Do you feel like soulmate is always tied to a romantic relationship?
No.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Yes, soulmates with an S. Yes. Like I feel like you can have multiple soulmates. Like,
so you can have a soulmate outside of your wife that doesn't make her feel threatened about y'all connection.
Oh hell no. Like no, you can't do that type of shit. No. Like no.
So how do you operate in that?
You know what I mean? Like no, what I'm saying is like, you know how people say like, oh, that's my soulmate, but if something happened to that person, you saying like you it ain't never nobody else out in the world that can make you feel this way ever again.
That's how they be making a scene.
You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about soulmates. It's just like, if something happened to my wife, you know what I mean, Lord forbid, but something happened to my wife and I supposed to be like, that's it for me? Like that's it for love. That's it for anything.
Right,
Like
so that
good.
concept doesn't make soulmate.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like it never made sense to me. Like I never understood like why people would say that. Like
It's just a fairy tale. People
now that is a fairy tale.
Fairy tale.
That's an absolute fairy tale to find. Like they be like, oh, I just found that missing piece.
Right.
Bitch, you got a lot of missing pieces. Like you put some stuff everywhere. You know what I mean?
That's what that's called.
You got some pieces that could be placed everywhere. Like damn, you ain't put together all the way. But I'm saying, but like you know what I mean? Like now, I feel like people have. This is my personal opinion now. That people have, 3 really good loves in their life.
Okay.
About
Wasn't that one?
2 to 3. 2 to 3.
Okay.
2 to 3. Really good love. I'm talking about like 2 to 3 really good loves to where like that person affected them, like changed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if a person comes into your life and affects you to where like you change for the better, then that was like a great love because you actually took the time out to listen to what they said and really felt what they was telling you and you made a decision to change. Like can't nobody change you. Like you are who you are. Mm-hmm. But if that person actually made you decide to change, then that was a great love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like you get a few of those in your life. You know what I mean? That's why I don't believe in soulmates because people come along all the time and affect you in different ways.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So everybody can kind of connect to your soul in some way or form. But now when it comes to like just like relationships only, then the soulmate factor, like I think like you gotta throw that out the window. Like, like
Don't say me. I'm just trying to help a listener out there who was really stuck on a soulmate and thinking there's an ultimate one for them.
Listen, sis.
Why gotta be a sis? It could be a
listen, sis. Listen, sis.
Hey.
Listen, sis.
It could be a him.
Listen,
too.
sis.
Him.
It look. It's about 3 other niggas out there that might connect with you better.
And fellas, there may be another female out there that can connect with you better.
Listen, bro. That bitch ain't all that.
Jesus Christ. Now we're drinking the bitch words. Well, so do you think love trumps all?
Fuck
You think love is...
No.
Love doesn't trump
Nah, man.
at all.
Nah,
Love does monogamy
Nah.
equal love and does love equal monogamy?
Nah. Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Because, like, I've known niggas just in love and they still cheat. I'm talking about, like, cheat bad. You know what I mean? And I've known niggas that didn't love who they was they love that person, but they ain't give them they all because they was hurt before. But they just wasn't that type of person to go out and cheat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they was monogamous, but they just wasn't like super duper in love.
Right.
And I know a nigga that like he would literally kill for his woman, but that nigga goddamn go out and cheat in a heartbeat.
Jesus Christ.
You know what I mean? So I don't think love conquers all. Like, you know what I mean? I think trust can conquer all. Like, because if we have an issue, like once you don't trust somebody, like your relationship is done. Like that's friendships and all. Like if I can't trust you, I can't fuck with you.
Right.
And I think like that'd be the main thing of when people split up is that, he don't trust her or she don't trust him no more.
Right.
So you start looking at them differently. Like everything they say is a question now. Like, hey, where you been? Shit, I went to the gym. Yeah, alright, gym my ass. Like, damn. Or shit, I went to
How would you advise someone who break trust from cheating, whatever, break trust period? Let's just take out cheating. How do you rebuild trust? Is it possible? Because if you break that trust and that bond, is it possible to get it back?
It won't be at the same level. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think once you break trust, I don't think somebody will ever fully trust you again. I feel like they got a couple of options. They can either like, like, boom, I know what this nigga. I know who this nigga is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know what he's capable of,
Right.
and so I can just say if I don't feel like he's telling the truth, I can push the issue,
Right.
and start some shit, or I can be like, why disrupt my peace tonight for some bullshit?
That's true.
You know what I mean? And I think that because I definitely think women are a lot more forgiving than men.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I ain't got no.
But at the same time, I feel like women are more forgiving than men. But when men get to a point where he feel like he doesn't want to compromise, or he gets to pass his boundary or what he's willing to accept, he gonna end it quicker than a woman will.
Yeah, end it like he will, but it ain't gonna be hurt. Niggas
We ain't
be
talking
hurt.
about her. We talking about end.
I'm
I
saying.
have this much capacity. Well,
I'm saying like
I got a 80% capacity of dealing with mistrust, however, forgiveness. But the minute the roles get reversed, then it's like, oh no, I'm out. I can't deal with that.
Man, y'all better stop. Man, look,
We need
niggas.
to take some tips from these men.
For what?
What you mean for what?
Somebody got to kill. Somebody got to kill, man. Like, yeah, damn, man. But I honestly, I feel like, y'all as women,
Thank you.
Women's capacity for caring and forgiving, I think that's just a natural thing for y'all.
Yes, our God given gift.
I think that's like just y'all natural thing, like because, even like we're in parenthood, like, your mother will take a lot of shit from a child. Like your mother will be very patient with you. When your dad, like, nigga, I told y'all to sit down and shut up. Like, you know what I mean? So I just think like that's just a natural thing for y'all, and that it's by the grace of God that a lot of relationships are still together probably because a woman was just like, nigga, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But alright, come on back.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. And I was
that's
like,
where that 80-20% rule comes in. Which I feel like I don't know. That will be another topic for another time. The 80-20 rule.
like, I'm talking like movies? Like out the movie shit?
What you mean? I'm talking about it's real life. Like you get 80% of somebody's good and 20% of it is flaws, mistakes, all that.
You gotta take it off.
Oh, he'll take it all.
Mm-hmm.
All your bullshit. Like, what's his name was? Jacquees.
You gotta
Rather
take
be
it.
with you and all your bullshit.
You gotta take it down though. You gotta accept everybody. You gotta accept all they shit. You know what I mean?
This was good dialogue, Kosi. I appreciate the conversation. So let's just wrap it up on a good note. As a married man and as a man who once was in the streets doing what he needs to do, can you please speak to my listeners, the women, advice for the women that can also be related to the men, about if you want to be in a monogamous relationship, because the desire has to be from both parties.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be in a monogamous relationship, is it possible, even though despite of all that was going on, public figures might be cheating and all, however, people breaking up, divorce rate, all of those factors make nowadays millennials kind of shy away from getting married and or bonding into a polygamy relationship and, dealing with that instead of having that one-on-one interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give my listeners who is looking to be in a monogamous relationship despite it all?
Man, talk with your partner about what you want. All right, you can't assume. Don't take it. Don't take it with a grain of salt. And be like, oh, we've been kicking it. He must want to be with me. No, that may not be the situation. Like, literally talk with your partner about what you want. Like, let them know what you looking for. And don't be looking for a relationship on the first date. Like, cause he got his shit together. On the surface, this nigga might be traumatized underneath.
That's true.
And make sure the nigga can read. Make sure the nigga can read, because I'm saying, like, for real, like, he got like, if some everybody ain't on that same intellectual level, like, and then and as a man, you know what I mean, like, if y'all intellects don't click, honestly, y'all intellects don't click, it ain't gonna last. That's just, you know what I mean,
Just gonna put you in a category.
right, like it ain't gonna last, like, you know what I mean. But definitely, my main thing is just knowing what you want, like knowing what you want, knowing what they want, and make sure y'all on the same level, and like, really press it though, like don't, oh, I want to be in a relationship, yeah, me too, and just let it go, like press it, like, bring it up, and give him 3 times. If he brushed the shit out 3 times, then he fucking around. You know what I mean? And so, but that's my advice.
And what advice would you give males? Because it sounds like a women's advice.
Well, men, have your shit together. You know what I mean? Have your shit together, and be honest about what you want. You know what I mean? Like, don't feel like you doing it for the kids. Don't feel like you're doing it because, she gonna leave you. If she gonna leave you, she gonna leave you. Like, like, you rather know now than know later on, man. But and be honest. Like, be honest with her. If you don't like the way she doing, the way she do something, or the way she talk to you or whatever, or any flaws, like, you got to be honest about it. Like, you can't just hold it in, and then one day explode on her. But, like I say, you got to talk, you got to communicate, you got to be honest. Like, you got to be brutally honest sometimes. Like, before you go on a vacation, before any of that shit, like, if y'all ain't had a talk and, like, really get to know each other, shit ain't gonna work.
Well, then there it is, audience and family. That's wonderful advice from my brother Kosi. Thank you, Mr. Kosi, for joining us tonight.
We're glad to be here.
And I look forward to, I'm going to bring him back as another guest on another topic we will be talking about. So thank you, my family, for listening. Tune in, like, and subscribe, and look out for the next episode. Thank you, family, for tuning in to Point Blank and the Period Podcast. I would like for you to like and subscribe to my podcast, and also follow me on social media, Instagram at Keita, Keita, number 1, the letter N _ only for all your latest updates. I look forward to you tuning in.